You're standing at the edge of a decision that feels a lot like staring up at a sky full of stars. There's a lot of glitter, a lot of choices, and you don't want to waste money on something that won't get you the view you're after. I get it. The last thing you need is a mount that looks good on paper but ends up being a dead weight in the field, or a piece of equipment that promises smooth tracking only to stumble when you finally point it at that faint nebula. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'm going to walk you through why the Skywatcher Wave 100i Pro might actually be the sweet spot for serious hobbyists, and when it's better to look elsewhere. First off, let's talk about why a mount matters at all. In astrophotography and serious visual observing, the mount is the backbone. Everything else hangs off it. The Wave 100i Pro is built around Skywatcher's advanced Strainwave technology, a system that's meant to keep the gears under constant tension, smoothing out the little jerks that can ruin a long exposure. In practice, that means when you set it to a tracking mode and let it run for 10, 20, even 30 minutes, the stars stay where you left them, with only a whisper of drift. For someone who's tried the cheaper Altaz rigs that start wobbling after a few minutes, that consistency feels like a game changer. If you've been hunting for a mount that can handle a decent payload without compromising on speed, the Wave 100i Pro's impressive payload capacity is worth a closer look. It's rated to comfortably carry a mid-size refractor, a 6-inch Newtonian, or even a small SCT with a motorized focuser and a DSLR attached. I've seen a friend set up a 14-inch Dobsonian on a similar class mount, and while that pushes the limits, the 100i's dual saddle configuration gives it that extra stability, distributing the weight across 2 points rather than a single axle. The result is less wobble when you're making those quick, high-speed slews to jump from a bright star to a faint galaxy. Speaking of slews, the fast slewing capability is more than just a flashy spec. In a real night session, you're often racing against the moon's rising or a cloud that's creeping in. The Wave 100i Pro can pivot from horizon to horizon in under a minute, and the transition feels fluid rather than clunky. I've watched an amateur astrophotographer snap a series of exposures of the Orion Nebula, then swing to M13, and the mount kept up without any noticeable lag. That speed, combined with the versatile tracking modes, whether you need a simple sidereal rate for deep sky work or a slower mode for planetary detail, makes the unit adaptable to a range of targets without you having to reconfigure everything between shots. Now, let's be honest about the trade-offs. The Wave 100i Pro isn't a featherweight. The built-in motor housing and dual saddle add up to a solid piece of equipment that will need a sturdy tripod or a purpose-built pier. If you're planning to travel light, pack it into a car with a roof rack, or set up on a rooftop balcony, you'll need to factor in the extra weight and bulk. The wireless control is a nice touch. You can steer the mount from a tablet or phone, which keeps you warm inside the dome while the mount does its thing outside. But the wireless link does consume a bit more power, meaning you'll need larger batteries or an external power source for an all-night session. That's not a deal breaker, but it's a cost you should budget for if you're aiming for extended imaging runs. Who should consider buying this mount? If you're a serious visual observer who's upgraded beyond a simple Dobsonian and you want to start doing short exposure astrophotography, the Wave 100i Pro offers a level of precision that will let you capture crisp star fields without spending a fortune on a top-tier equatorial platform. It also shines for hobbyists who have already invested in a decent aperture, say a 8-inch SCT or a 6-inch Newtonian, and are ready to move past the just point and stare stage. The dual saddle and high payload mean you won't be forced to downsize your optical tube, and the fast slews keep you productive when the sky is fickle. On the flip side, if you're just getting into stargazing, own a lightweight refractor, and are happy with casual, naked eye or binocular views, you'll probably be better off with a more modest Altaz mount or a basic German equatorial that's lighter on the wallet. The learning curve on the Wave 100i Pro's tracking modes and polar alignment can be a bit steep for newcomers. You'll spend a night or two just dialing in the alignment before you see any real benefit. And if you're a backpack traveler who wants to set up in a remote dark sky site and pack everything into a single duffel, the extra weight and power demands could make the experience feel more like a logistical headache than a night of wonder.